Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said, I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another post game here on Grizz 901. I am your host, Daniel Greer, and we're coming off of a loss to the Mavericks, 120-113. It was ugly. It kind of got a little close late. I think it was like kind of a false advertisement, we'll say, because it didn't seem like it was that close. With Luka, honestly, controlling the game, it was a game that once you kind of got down by 20 plus, it just seemed like it was just, such an uphill climb. But the Grizzlies fought back. I like that crew that was on the court at the very end. There was a lot of feisty guys, but also you're talking about, Bane, but also Jaren, who had amazing nights. So we're going to get into all that tonight. It's going to be a fun night for sure. We're going to at least entertain you, talk you off the ledge, maybe talk off the ledge. All right, Nate's here. Let's go ahead and bring him in.
All right,
Nate. That did suck. And you are frozen on my end. So I'm not sure. There you are. There you are. You're unfrozen.
All right, some last-minute technical difficulties.
Yeah, so honestly, like a little off the top rope on that one. Like, give it to me. Like, what's your thoughts on that game? Because it seemed like it was a game that the Grizzlies could have won, but they literally were so down and lethargic from the very beginning. It was nasty. It was ugly. It wasn't fun. It was a game that really the Grizzlies gave. I don't think that, the Mavs are down 2 in their players. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that, but off the top row, what's your thoughts?
They showed up 24 minutes too late.
Yeah.
I don't know if am I still frozen on your side or am I here?
No, you're unfrozen, but you keep freezing in and out. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, me either. I may have to leave and come back. But they showed up 24 minutes too late, man.
Yeah, they did.
It's just like the defensive connectivity wasn't there. It was a absolute mess. I can see my cameras going in and out, so I'm gonna try and fix it here in a minute once I'm off. But it's like they weren't connected on defense. They got outworked for every hustle play. Like they weren't getting after any of the balls. They finally figured out how to rebound in the second half, but the first half was an absolute mess. Yeah. So, it was a rough first half. It was brutal. And then they were behind the 8 ball the entire game after that.
And that was the thing is, like, once you got down, they were just kind of so down, they couldn't get back up. So I'm going to let you fix your camera. I'm going to go through some of these comments real quick. But looking at Dak Daniels, he's talking about Vince is a dog. Absolutely. Like, Vince is a dog. Like, the dude gave everything he could to Luka. Luka had him in his back pocket. It was a game that you love seeing Vince kind of grow up right before your eyes a little bit. In a game where you see that he could be that stopper. Like, Vince could be that dog where he can knock down a 3. He doesn't need the ball to be effective. He's not scared to rebound. He will pass to the open man. I was so down on that. And then as Sid says, late game execution wasn't great, but also they were so down. They were just, grasping at straws at that point. And then Dak going back to this, he's talking about all he wants for Christmas. All Dak wants. Listen, this is an easy one for Santa because he might get it. Jaren Bane, Smart, Vince, Jaren, that lineup. I love it. We're going to talk a little bit more about Vince a little bit later. I also want to talk about the other bench player that played well, and then some that didn't. I'm curious. Is it striking midnight for a couple Cinderellas on our team? I don't know. We'll hit that in a second. But let's go. Nate is still working on his camera. He's honestly, the device is not connected, is what it shows on my end. But he's still working on it. Let me go through a little bit of the stats real quick. You're back. I'm not sure what you just did. You broke it. There you go. Yeah, he's frozen again.
No buttons were pressed.
Oh, you probably let yourself back in. All right, let's go through the stats real quick. And so the first two things I want to talk about is our only two bench players that didn't suck, and that was Conchar and Vince. They both have been very good as of late, and they've kind of been a duo together, which you wouldn't think would work, right? Because it's a duo that doesn't shoot at a high volume, but what they do is they hustle, and they do so many things that a lot of the other team that doesn't do. Roddy will do it sometimes. Santi just didn't look great tonight at all. Santi ended with six points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Those 6 points only came from the 2-3 balls. He went 2 of 5 and then 2 of 6 overall. They are small, and Santi will not go inside. He had 1 2-point shot tonight. David Roddy didn't look great. He was fine. This is passable if other people play well, but nobody else really was able to play well for him other than Bane and Jaren. But 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Derrick Rose, love him. He's old.
Yeah, he's.
I don't know if you saw me put my GIF out of the falling the rose starting to wither and just losing all that stuff.
I saw no such thing, but it's not far off.
7 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Let's get to the big guys. Bane, 28 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists. He still continues to dominate. 3 of 9 overall from Traylon tonight. This dude dominated. Jaren Jackson Jr., 41 points, 4 rebounds. I don't love that. 2 assists, but 6 of 10 from deep, 15 of 29 overall. The fact that he's taken 29 shots, I love. I could care less about the 44 points. I like that. But the fact that he's willing to take those shots because he is feeling it, because he is playing well within himself, a lot of ill-advised shots, that's fine. I get it. But 15 to 29 overall, I'll take that as one of the duos that show up tonight for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, if anybody else on the team shows up, then this game could go a lot different. But like Vince Williams, I felt like Taylor went away from Vince Williams. I don't know if it was during the second quarter or the third quarter, but I felt like he went away from him for a while, which I didn't understand. Because he was the only other guy that did basically anything. I mean,
he played
Roddy was all right tonight.
Yeah.
But I mean, just you pretty much got fat nothings out of everybody. Zaire is just a train wreck out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Tillman.
Man. Like X is looking awful right now. I mean, Biombo can't catch the ball. I mean, it's one of those where it's like the effort was pretty pitiful in the first half. But if I'm being honest, like it's hard for me to be too mad at anything from this game. I saw some people were mad about the officiating. I actually didn't think the officiating was all that bad tonight. If Luke gave Jaren Luka's whistle, I think things would go a lot better for the Grizzlies for sure. Right. But like he's an NBA superstar. He's like one of the top NBA superstars. That's going to be what happens, right? So I didn't mind the officiating tonight. I thought it was just an all-around pretty pitiful effort during the first half. And then in the second half, it's like you're too far behind the 8 ball. And nobody showed up, man. Like nobody was hitting the big shot for the Grizzlies. Santi wasn't hitting the big shot. I mean, there's one, and it's just like when they get behind, they don't realize their roles anymore. It's like, F it.
Yeah.
Let's just start jacking it up because we got to make it up anyways.
Yeah.
Like there's a play where D Rose takes a wing 3 and Bane's wide open next to him. And there's a play where Santi takes a wing 3 and he could have swung it over to Bane. Or it wasn't Santi, I'm sorry, it was Jaren. Who you don't mind that as much because Jaren was obviously hot tonight, 6 for 10 from 3. But if we're being honest, if you have Bane open 3 or Jaren wide open 3, you'd rather have Bane take the open 3, right? It's just little things like that they waste too many possessions on little things like Santi put one up with like 20 seconds on the clock tonight. And I'm like, dog, dude, like that kind of was okay the night you were going off against the Celtics. And even then, I wanted you to swing at the Bane on the last possession. But like tonight, when you suck, come on, man. And they turn it over on the fast breaks. I mean, Zaire like, single-handedly blew 3 fast breaks tonight. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. But it's hard for me to take too much away because when the role players play like they play tonight, it's just going to be – it's going to be that kind of night. The only thing that I was super disappointed in was the pitiful effort in the first half. There's too many guys on here that could easily be out of the NBA that just weren't given enough effort, man. Like, you can't get outworked by Dante Exum and whoever Prosper. I literally can't even remember his last name or his first name. Olivier Prosper, is that it? I don't know. But you can't get outworked by these guys, right? Like, that's pretty pitiful. But in general, Jaren looked awesome. Bane looked awesome. After that, this like the role player showed up for Dallas. That's it. Olivier Prosper hit all those threes. Dante Exum, Jaden Hardy hit all their threes. Santi sucked. Zaire, it was. I mean, I was dumbfounded he was even getting any minutes at the end of the game. Roddy didn't look great. Anyways, it was pretty brutal. It was pretty brutal, but not too much to take away from it.
Yeah. So if you look at the score, it was 67-51 at half. Do you know what maybe the second half might have been?
I don't know. I mean, they obviously caught up.
Yeah. So the Grizzlies scored 62 compared to 53. Like, that was a much better half. Like, it looked better. The energy was there. That's why I want to show people, like, you can have a half flip up on its head. The problem is like when you get beat 16, even though you do win the second half by 9, there's still a gap there, right? And so that's the biggest thing for me is like they look like these dudes who potentially could be out of the league, off the team, let go, release, trade it, are not balling out. Like, if you make mistakes because you're trying a little too hard, I'm okay with that. But like looking scared is not it, man. It's young guys, and I get it.
It's not even that they got down by 16. It's the way they got down by 16.
Yeah.
And even with that, I'm not mad about the guys not making shots even. But I'm like, dude, Derek Lively is not Wilt Chamberlain. He's not Oscar Robertson.
Yeah.
And he had like 14 rebounds at the half or something crazy, man. Like, that can't happen. It's just an effort thing. Luka getting a 50-50 ball between Zaire and Roddy because, of course, Zaire couldn't finish the play.
Yeah.
But sorry, that's just that's a low blow. Sorry, that was a little petty of me. But you can't do that. And then meanwhile, I see Goon. I knew he was going to come in trashing Jaren because he dropped 40, so he's got to work double time tonight. But like, Jaren's sitting there playing awesome one-on-one defense, forcing these misses, and nobody's putting a body on Derek Lively or Dwight Powell or whoever it may be. And then you saw in the second half, they did. I mean, shout out Vince Williams. He is the only guy that seems to show up every night as far as the other guys go. I think Roddy gives pretty consistent effort, but mentally he spaces out. Vince Williams is the only one who seems to consistently be there full effort. But I mean, clearly you're asking too much of Biyombo right now. Like, as awesome as he was at first, he just cannot keep up with these other true bigs. You got to have guys show up, and they just didn't show up tonight. But you cannot show up execution-wise. You can't not show up work-wise. And they didn't show up work-wise for the first half. And that can't happen with this team. I'm excited for the other wings to get back, for these other guys to lose their minutes, because then they're going to realize what they had.
For sure. And all right, so we have some things tonight that might be a little bit different. I have a video that we're going to go through. And so Grizzlies Film clipped that for me. And so I'm going to show that here in a little bit. Let me get you some other things real quick as we kind of reset ourselves. We're going to get into our second segment. We'll have the Grizz Trivia. I have a question that should be very easy. It's all about tonight. But also it will be something I do think you need to get off your chest in the second segment.
Yep.
It's a little bit to some fans that aren't fans of the Grizzlies, but to some other fans. And so if you are a Timberwolves fan and you're back here again supporting us with these clicks, I appreciate these views and these clicks by you, man. I do appreciate it. The second segment is devoted to you. And then the third one, we're going to go ahead and do a nice little preview of the next two games. We have a Wednesday and a Friday matchup versus the Rockets. But let me go through some of these real quick. Goon, I'm going to pass over these because, as you say, Jaren did play like a bucket. He is effective. I agree, Goon. You're the man. Let's go ahead and do these real quick. And this is the one I want to get to the most. Is Ed asked the question. With the amount of minutes that Biz and Noel, the Grizz, are the Grizz sending a message? Like, I don't know exactly how to take that, because my thinking is they aren't getting the minutes. And so if you're thinking, Ed, if you're still in here, if you're thinking the way I'm, I guess, taking this question is that they aren't getting as many minutes as they were. So is that sending a message to them as like, hey, you might not be long for the team? And so is that how you're taking this as well, Nate?
No.
Okay, then you talk on the side you think this is coming from.
I don't think Ed's super far off. I think that they're probably just trying to experiment with what works and doesn't work for us because they got decisions to make.
Okay.
Right? So I do think they're experimenting, but I don't think they're sending a message though, because both those guys probably know like, hey, we got to maximize our minutes if we want to try and make this work, right? Because we were the last guys in. We could easily be the first guys out. But, I mean, I think starting Santi tonight is, hey, Biyombo hasn't been effective for us. He wasn't effective tonight either, right? Is his size worth the roster spot, or is it worth it with Noel? Do we really need either one of these guys? We talked about last time, the Grizzlies need size more than they need wings, ironically, because the wings have been trash for a good bit of the season, right?
But why not go back to Noel? Because you played him 8 minutes, I believe, in the first half. He had an 8-minute stretch, and then they never went back to him again. In the second half, he never played a minute.
I really don't know. I'm assuming they kind of went with, because Conchar was doing Conchar stuff tonight.
Right.
You know, he was just being an irritant. He was getting some rebounds, making some hustle plays.
Yeah, but they went to Zaire late.
Well, you go to Zaire because you want his length defensively in theory. Now, what you actually got was a steaming pile of hot garbage, which is what you get 65% of the time. So it's just part of it. But that's why they went to Zaire.
Well, okay. So my thinking is, and this is me just thinking through this completely. So they go away from Noel. They went to him in the rotation because Zaire was probably, there's no way Zaire was in this game plan. He was the 11th man off the bench tonight. So at that point, you see Zaire play in the first half. At the end of the first half, he closes out, plays, I think, some extra minutes in the first half, I believe. And then he ends up playing the second half in the Noel minutes. Like whenever Noel would came in, he came in actually for him. And so Noel never came back. And so I'm curious, are they going away from him? Because, you know, it looked like Jalen Noel. He looked like everybody else. He just looked like he sucked. And so did they go through him because they like maybe his energy? I don't know. I'm just looking through and kind of trying to answer this as Ed is asking the question.
I think Taylor is just searching for anything. Like I said, no one showed up for 24 minutes outside of Jaren and Dez.
Yeah.
Vince, I thought, showed up. I was very confused as to why Vince was out for as long as he was. Like, they felt like the game should have been 30-plus minutes for Vince, as bad as everyone else was.
I agree. I agree.
But, you know, Taylor was just searching for somebody that would care enough to go for it. So it was, I think, just looking for that, and then probably settled on it's going to be between Noel and Conchar, I would guess, is a spot, the minutes that were up in the air, and gave it to Conchar. But, I think he's looking for anybody. Noel wasn't there. As far as what Ed was saying, though, I don't think it's sending a message. I think it's trying to figure out what you're going to do. And quite frankly, it's the easiest thing for the Grizzlies would be to not need Noel or Biyombo.
Right.
Chances are they're going to have to keep Biyombo just because you need somebody with some kind of size, but that clearly hasn't been much help to you the past few games anyway. So they're probably just trying to figure out what they have and don't have.
Yeah. Big Die 1976 is asking, is Tillman still hurt? You know, I don't know. I think because he sucks right now, I think that you're hoping he's hurt, just as I believe it was Dak. Yeah, Dak Daniels is kind of hoping that he's hurt, and that's why he's not looking so good. But he's not in a rhythm at all. And obviously, like, you went away from him. They went to him early, and then they went away from him as well. Listen, so I know a lot of people crap on Taylor Jenkins, okay? And I get that. I have very much been a person that's kind of backed him a little bit. But I back coaches in general because I know coaching is very hard. But I'll give you credit or I'll crap on you in a sense whenever I think you deserve it, one way or the other. Tonight, the fact that he, my opinion, went with Santi in the starting lineup over Biyombo is it allows us to have a big coming off the bench and maybe not be Xavier Tillman, right? But instead, Santi was so bad against them. We were getting dominated on the boards. We went ahead and went, after about 5 minutes, we went back to Biyombo and switched those two guys out. And at that point, they were still getting crushed on the boards. And so, all right, so if you're not going to rebound Bismack, then what are we doing here? Let's go to Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman sucked, couldn't get rebounds. He couldn't do anything. So at that point, what are we doing? And then we have a guy like Vince Williams actually get 9 rebounds. I don't know how many Conchar had. Conchar had he was contributing as well. Because if you look at it, Jaren having 4. Dude, all of that is an issue. The fact that we're having to have a guy like Vince Williams get those rebounds and having Derek Lively end up with 16 is crazy to me.
Biombo.
Nuts.
Biombo, man. The hand-eye is just not good. The hand-eye for Bismack Biyombo is just not good. Like, there's a lot of balls that hit him in both hands, and he looks like Kadarius Toney out there. Like, it's just not getting caught. And so it's a bit of a train wreck. So he's big enough, but there's so many where you're like, man, I just imagine Steve-O tonight, and I'm just like, there's zero chance Steven Adams doesn't get that rebound. So we'll see. But he's big, I guess. I don't know.
We'll come back to Ryan real quick. But as LOL, nope, Jones says Vaseline fingers.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Ryan because I can't wait to crap on his theory, Mr. Theory guy. Jenkins obviously tonight was videoed getting pretty heated into the huddle.
Ryan, he's embraced his Twitter.
Yeah. Mr. Grizz Twitter, Ryan Meadows himself here. How long until the team tunes out his hissy fits, or have they already tuned him out? Ryan, shut up.
I knew that was coming.
Just shut up, Ryan.
Oh man.
Listen, I people complain all the time that Jenkins isn't fired up enough and he doesn't do enough. He's not that type of a coach. I get that. He's more of a thinker. He tries to work through it with the guys. He tries to give them a little bit more leash than probably they deserve at times. He is much a player's coach, but I think you're allowed to get after these guys when they're playing like crap, such as Smart did. So listen, I know Ryan is just asking questions, but I'm also going to tell Ryan to completely shut up, Ryan. All right. Last thing for you, and then let's get to this video, and then we'll get to our second segment after we work through this video a little bit. Anything else you got?
No, I mean, just the guys have to show up. I'm excited to have other players back. They're definitely not going to have enough without Steve-O and Brandon to win a championship this year. And I don't think there's pieces on the market yet for them to be able to do that. So I think they just got to hold out and then wait till Cavalry arrives, compete, try and make the play in, and then try and make some noise in the playoffs. So that's sort of what we're looking at. But I don't think there's any reason to kind of like give up on the season.
Yeah.
So
I agree. There's 2 football games going on right now. Titans are up 13-10 on the Dolphins, which is crazy. The Dolphins are first in goal. Start of the fourth quarter. The Packers down to the Giants 21-13. Just want to give you a reset on that in case you are watching that while you're watching this show. But as Ryan says, Cowboys suck. He's just trying to get at me. Let's go through this video real quick. I think we have not done this yet at all. And so I'm going to try this. So shout out to our guy at Grizzlies Film. And so if you have a chance, if you're not following him, do me a favor and give him a follow. Let's go ahead and look through this real quick. I'm going to see if we can get through this.
Bane, dribble drive, wrap around.
What I'm looking at, look at this movement. Like, nobody is moving. Nobody's into the shot goes up, and then everybody's all the way down the court. Look at this. Biyombo doesn't even drive to the front of the rim. Instead, he tries to pass that. Like, that frustrates me.
6+ remaining in the first half. Grizzlies down 14. Bane drives in the lane, flips it up and in.
That was a good drive by Bane.
At the front of the rim, defensive pressure, not allowing the Grizzlies.
This is Jaren's drive. I think he gets stopped in front of the rim. But the fact that he's going to the front of the rim.
You talk about hustle. You know which team leads the NBA in loose ball recoveries?
Dude, what kind of screen is that from Jaren?
Bane picks up that loose ball, then buries the three.
All right, let's go through this real quick.
Rose in the lane.
All right, so if you look at this, like that dunker spot, that's filled by a point guard. Like right now, like look at Tillman should easily be able to have this ball, but Rose has to be moving in a little bit more because right there he's just flat-footed, and so when he tries to catch it, it's just it's hard to find him. Like, get up in the air is what I would say, because obviously that's where it goes to crap. And then whenever they kick it out, right? Look where Roddy is in the very middle of this. And if you like this, by all means, just let me know. I'm gonna keep working through this. Type in the chat if you can hear me talk over this, because I believe you can hear me talk over this, because we should be all on the same screen. Okay. But if you look at this real quick, yeah, Tillman still hasn't moved. In case anybody's wondering, Dak Daniels has said in the comments, Tillman has not moved. He's still in the same spot. But look where Roddy is in the very middle. Okay, the ball gets kicked out. Rose is right up here, and I get Jaren. Our biggest guy has flared all the way out. I actually give him a little bit of, I guess, the excuse being out this far, because he's able to catch shoot. It's in the shot clock. But if you know it's in the shot clock and Bane's got the ball, I'd say run in, because they either have to guard you or him. And so, but watch this. Like, look at Roddy. Roddy just walks out. The shot clock is going down, dude. The other way.
It's a 3 and it's off the back.
Like, that is what's frustrating.
Perfect 8-0 there.
And then this. Look at Biyombo. Like, you can kick it to Rose. You can kick it to Roddy at the other top, or you could drive. Everybody doesn't guard you. And then you try to make a pass in. Just go straight to the front of the rim. Like, it's not. I know he's old. I know he's trying to make a pass. Go straight to the front of the rim. These other ones by Bane, those aren't the ones that Bane is just Bane. So I know we're watching the same clips, but I think these are interesting. Bane getting that left hand, always good. But this is what I love out of Jaren, the fact that he's actually taking this dribble drive to his chest.
Aside from Jaren Jackson Jr.'s effort.
You talk about hustle.
That's what I saw. Anything else that you saw? I'm trying to get this out of here. There we go. Oh, see, why does this mess up? Stupid. All right, Nate, thoughts on that? Because I was want to talk about it the whole time, and you were trying to fix your camera a little bit, I believe.
They're not a smart basketball team. Like, that's the thing that you got, like, Bane and Jaren, or no, I'm sorry, not Jaren. Ja, Smart, Adams, they're all super high IQ basketball players, right? And they don't have, like, any of that, man. Like, they just don't have it right now. I mean, that's why whenever, like, Luka's in the paint tonight, I text you, I was like, I agree with making Luka see 2. Why is he seeing 4?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like everybody's collapsing in there, and then they're just not a smart basketball team. Nobody has a nose for the ball out there. I think that's why everyone loves Vince so much, because he does all that, right? Like, he does have a nose for the ball. He is getting in there. He does have a high basketball IQ, and it's frustrating when these other guys aren't, right? It's like we talked about Roddy. Roddy shows up with really good effort every night, but mentally he'll space out here and there, right? That's kind of stuff is just like what can't happen. But you got to hit shots, man. It's like you can't have what's his face Prosper hit shots, hit these threes, and then Santi Aldama, who's supposed to be the guy who's been knocking down these shots, or Zaire Williams, or whoever it is, Contra, Roddy, Vince, Noel even missed a corner 3 tonight. It's wide open. It's like, you got to hit those shots. And they just didn't do anything tonight. So it's going to be on some nights. It's going to be bad some nights. Tonight was a really bad night for the roll guys.
No, I agree. All right, so let's go ahead and get to our second break. But do me a favor. I liked showing a little bit of that film. We're going to have it more custom, getting some different clips that I like that I'm looking at. But if you can, do me a huge favor. And I try not to ask for too much. If you can go over to @Grizzlies Film, it's on Twitter. All he does is put out a lot of film, kind of breaks it down sometimes, or he just puts it out with a caption. Go follow him. The reason is because if we can get more people going over there to follow him, then obviously I'll be able to get more from him and cutting up film. That way I don't have to try to do it. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. And so if you already don't follow him, go ahead and follow @Grizzlies Film. I would appreciate that. That way we can kind of get a little bit more coming back our way. And so I'm hoping that's kind of the way this friendship works out. So shout out to him. So let's take about a minute break real quick. We'll be right back.
Yeah, because Zach Randolph went into the Blazers organization that had some characters. Underline the word characters,
Right.
okay? He's coming from Michigan State. He's from Marion, Indiana. And then you go to Portland, Oregon, which it's an entirely different culture, entirely different demographic. He had people around him who were guys from Marion. Hey, you owe us. Anthony, one of the key memories of my time here in Memphis off the court, I did a Read to Achieve event with Zach Randolph. And the kid who read the most books, his prize was to get to interview Zach Randolph. And the young man, first question to Zach is, what's the hardest thing for a black athlete to learn? And Zach did not give him any, like BS fluff answer. He said, a lot of times the people who say they're your friends, they're not your friends. And you have to pick the people around you very, very wisely.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, Nate, let's get into a little bit of the Grizz Trivia real quick. And if you make sure you stay tuned for the next part after this, the apology from Nathan Qualls to the Minnesota Timberwolves, the fans. Nathan, in franchise history for the Grizzlies, there have been only 4 players with 2 or more 40-point games. Can you name them?
Ja and Jaren. You're talking about the Grizzlies franchise here history.
That's correct.
Two
You
or
have
more.
2. 2 of 4.
2 of 4. Sorry, I thought you said there's only 2. Okay.
Sorry, no, they 2 or more. So they've scored 40 points 2 or more times. Tonight was Jaren's second one. So we have. So chat, if you know it as well, feel free. There's 4 players.
Turn the chat off real quick.
Yeah, turn the chat off.
Mike Miller.
Ding. Wish I had a ding. I need a ding. Ding.
Okay. 40 or more.
Twice.
Zebo?
Nope.
It's not Mark, is it?
Nope. Not Marc Gasol.
Is this going to be like an obvious name, or is it going to kind of a deep
It's
cut?
an obvious name.
It is an obvious name?
Yeah.
Pau
Gasol.
Okay.
Sharif. Nope, not Sharif. Abdul Rahim. Not him. But yeah, it was Pau.
It's before your time. Nothing's before Daniel's time. He's a resident old guy.
I am the old guy.
And resident a-hole.
I don't even know what he's talking about. Animal crackers. I'm guessing that's what you're referring to, Ed. I saw that, but I'm not sure exactly what that meant. I thought it was the movie. Okay. Anyway, all right. Let's get to the apology real quick, Nate.
I've got 2 apologies. Actually,
I'm going to give you the single shot. I'm going to throw it to you, man.
I don't want a single shot. No, I'm actually bringing you back up because it's not about me. It's about the people. So 1, I want to apologize. This is a family show. We try and make sure that kids can listen. Everybody tunes in after the games. You're welcome to do that. And I let my emotions get the better of me. I'm a bit of a temperamental guy. I've worked on it. I think it shows on the show I've worked on it. But let my mouth get a little bit out of hand. And so want to apologize for that because we try and make it a family show. Want to always keep that in mind. So that's the first apology. The second apology is to the people of Minnesota who pointed out some of the things that I was talking about on the show last week. And so, we try and own whenever there's something wrong that needs to be righted. And so I just want to apologize to the people of Minnesota that you were subjected to the Minnesota education system and apparently can't pay attention for more than 10 or 15 seconds. Maybe some issues on the reading level. Maybe George Bush accidentally left a couple kids behind because apparently they're really upset about my comments on the officiating and how much of a homer take it was, saying I couldn't acknowledge how good their team was. So I'm assuming that just didn't quite get to that 10th grade reading level. Again, blaming this all on the Minnesota education system. That you couldn't understand when I said that your team beat our teams behind and nothing that we could have done was going to stop that because that team's really, really good. Don't like Cat, don't like Gobert. They played awesome. Love Anthony Edwards. Love pretty much that entire Minnesota team. Did a really good job of saying that, but, reading, listening levels don't all compute. So I just wanted to apologize that your attention span lasts less than 15 seconds. And so you heard all the things about how bad I thought the officiating was, but apparently didn't hear that I said it's all across the league and it had no impact on the game. And so I want to say thank you for Tyus Jones and David Roddy. I'm glad we got the guys who did get to the 12th grade reading level and that did not get left behind. Shout out to George Bush. But just want to apologize to the Timberwolves fans because your feelings were really hurt. And I can't help but think that that is the fault of the Minnesota's education system. So, I just wanted to apologize because there's a wrong that needs to be righted. So get out there and vote.
I love it. I think that was honest. I think it was sincere.
Vulnerable. Very vulnerable.
As DC Lou 3II says, I just think Ja is a fake tough guy too. Gun-toting dude who grew up middle class.
Yeah, and I did see there was a lack of commas and punctuation. Again, like very basic educational items. So, we got to get with Tyus. We know Mama Roddy's a big fan of this. We're a huge fan. Kings of the David Roddy fan club. We might need to get a bit of a charity event together to raise money for the public schooling in Minnesota because it's clearly lacking. So, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we had a good time. I saw a lot of these comments. And so shout out to the Minnesota fans. They came in strong in many ways. And so it was the funny thing is
not mentally.
They ran up a lot on our Grizz 901 YouTube page, which we don't, I don't try to push out too hard because, Bluff City Media does pay us. And so we want to make sure that we send all clicks out to Bluff City Media. So shout out to Bluff City Media and the crew there. But how, we can watch it on Twitter and it's awesome. You can watch it on YouTube and it's awesome. I keep our stuff just kind of as a library over at Grizz 901. And so we had a lot of comments sent over to us. So I thought it was a great time. I thought it was great. And so I had fun with them. I wrote back on a couple of them. So Nathan wanted to have a chance to actually really apologize for his language because I like you said, we do try to keep it, somewhat clean. It does get a little nasty every now and then. But I think he felt bad because it was a lot of S-bombs.
Well, it really wasn't that many, but they were really heavily concentrated into 2 minutes, man. So, by the way, meant everything I said, just don't like how I said it. So
yeah, it was fun.
From the heart.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. I thought it was a good time. And so we wanted to make sure we had that kind of poke fun at the fans of the Timberwolves. All right, let's get to our we're going to answer some of these comments real quick. Let's see if we have one. So they're talking about the Timberwolves. LOL. Nope. Jones, the Timberwolves fans have been like that since that series. For real. They have been all the way through. All right, and so this is the reason I wanted to ask this is Alan came here and asked, he was asking Gavin this, but let's go ahead and answer. Who's the last small shooting guard to lead their team to a championship outside of one of the best shooters of all time? I'm not sure if that can't be Jordan. Jordan went small.
I think it's probably just a back and forth. Steph.
Yeah.
I think it's just a back and forth about whether they can win it or not and should tank or not.
Correct. So I want to answer that. So when was the last time? Listen, honestly, it doesn't happen often. You're right. And so I agree with that. And I know they're discussing that, but my thoughts are, I think it doesn't matter anymore because every team's made up a certain way. And, as Ed's saying, Spud Webb was huge in this league. And so I think it can happen. So, anyway, all right, let's get to our third segment real quick. We're going to hit about a minute break. Let's see which one. Sane and GP. Let's hit that about a minute break, and then we'll be right back.
People have this thing I'm keeping the receipts, and I'm gonna remember who said this. We wasn't lying.
I get it. Yeah. So that's one. I've reached a point where anything you say on Twitter, I can ignore it.
Right.
I'm not promising you I'll never pop back at somebody. Sometimes I do. I might today, but I often don't. I would say for every 50 negative comments I get, I might reply to one. I don't get involved.
I'm getting there too, man.
Yeah, but you don't look like you're getting there. I see you arguing all day long every day. You got
I'm
to wait.
getting there, man.
You got a ways to go.
Well, I might get more. Well, I don't get as many as you.
Well, how about this?
You,
How about this? And I'm not saying you have to get there. I'm just saying I am there. There are different ways to handle social media. I just found it to be largely unproductive. Right. But
I do it for calisthenics sometimes.
Right.
Like I don't feel no way. I just okay. Let me just engage in this just for fun.
Yeah.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, let's get to a little bit of the breakdown that's kind of coming up soon with the Rockets. There's 2 games. Nate, before we get into kind of the in-depth version of anything, looking at their roster or anything, what's your thoughts on these 2 games? Win, loss, split, 2 wins, 2 losses?
Oh, man. I mean, it just depends on what team shows up. I think you should split, but like, man, you got to show up with the same effort you showed up with a few games before this Mavs game, right? The effort you ended the Mavs game with is the effort you got to come with. And somebody that's not named Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson has got to hit shots. And, it's one of those where Jaren, I think, has to be more of a factor than he was in the last game. Like the last game they played, I was like, Jaren needs to come in and be dominant because there's nobody that can deal with him on that Rockets team. And he was just super passive, right? So if he comes out with the same kind of effort he had tonight, I think things can go really, really well for Memphis because Bane is typically going to do what Bane's going to do. So if Jaren shows up, I feel really, really good about their chances. And then after that, all you need is for somebody to show up.
Yeah.
Somebody.
No, I agree.
And so I'm going to say a split. I really doubt they win both games, as nice as that would be. I want a split. I'm a little nervous about it, to be completely honest. Just because after this game, you just kind of wonder who's going to show up, right? And I feel like everyone's kind of counting down the days till Ja shows up. And that can't be the attitude. You got to just go in, guns blazing. So we'll see.
2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 fouls, 0 of 6 from deep, and 1 of 12 from the floor. Who am I talking about, Nate?
I didn't hear the stats. Sorry, one more time.
2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 fouls, 0 of 6 from deep, and 1 of 12 from the floor tonight.
Oof. No, Santi hit a 3.
He doesn't play for the Grizzlies.
Huh.
The old shot chucker himself.
He got them all out tonight, though. It's going to be the same KD thing. He just got rid of them all. It's like
the
KD
old shot chucker. Dylan Brooks, 93-82. The Rockets get a win, 93-82. Okay. Yeah, big game out of the Spurs tonight. Sengun's still playing well. He had 15-9, 16-6 for Fred VanVleet, 4 of 11. He's gonna jack him. I haven't looked at our last couple of games with him, but he has obviously been shooting pretty well.
Who's going to get some piss and vinegar in him for the Grizzlies?
Piss and vinegar. I like that.
That's the only thing that made me mad tonight is Luka sitting there staring down Vince Williams and nobody goes and gets teched up.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, it can't be Dez every time. Like, and honestly, like, I really want to see Jaren get teched up. Like, I want to see Jaren have that in him. And it's one of those things where it's like, I keep saying, I don't necessarily think it's all ever going to come. I've been talked into it by a couple of people, you included. But like, who's going to be that guy? Because right now they don't have anybody else that's like that. And so I need somebody to show up and be that for them. Vince Williams was, maybe it's Vince Williams. Vince Williams looked like he was talking mad noise to Luka tonight. He did a really good job on Luka. I know Luka got his tonight, but very little of that was on Vince Williams. So shout out to Vince.
That's one thing we haven't talked about. We didn't talk about tonight at all. And this has nothing to do with the Rockets, but it simply would possibly, because it has something to do with maybe Fred VanVleet the next game, the next 2 games. You have a guy in Vince Williams who was completely just face guarding in denial, with his defense against Luka. Played very well. Kept his head a lot of times. Didn't get into major foul trouble. Was able to kind of really honestly helped very much in that second half. He was big key to that. And so I think that it could be a game where Vince, because a key role in his defense and playing very well. David Roddy, as Big Die says, David Roddy could be very key to that. And so he needs to play very good defense, but we need somebody to be more of a slasher to the goal. David Roddy can be that. We haven't had that. It seems like we have so many 5 out, no in guys, or 4 out, 1 in, but nobody's moving to the basket because everybody's afraid to just be on the perimeter and just kind of like shuffling around instead of going through to the other side. Like there's more movement getting through into the lane, then that could actually have a little bit more work for the defense. Right now, honestly, it's like, hey, back to the rim, and if nobody gets beat, then all I have to do is close out forward. There's no movement lateral that we're making defenses do. It's great. It pisses me off. Anyway, go ahead. I think you're on mute there, big boy.
Sorry, I'm doing a lot of stretching and popping and cracking, so I didn't want all that to pick up. In case someone's wondering, does my back actually pop loud enough to pick up on the mic? Yes, it does, and it has. I just get so confused on why Jaren doesn't just decide he's going to murder people.
Well, that's not murder, but you know what I mean?
No, I mean, put him in a body bag beneath the baseline. Like, because he's just so big and strong. Like Shingun this next game, who is, I don't know him as a dude, obviously, but as NBA personalities, personas, faces go, very punchable. Like, why don't you just put him under the rim, man? Like, put him into the first row. And he's good enough to do it. He's gotten enough of a skill set that combined with his strength and his size, like he can do that. Like, man, at what point is he going to decide that he's actually going to follow through and go ahead and do it? I don't know, man. I sit here and I'm just always confused and wondering about that, like at what point are you going to do it? And so I hope we see it next game, because I feel like we saw flashes of it last year, semi flashes of it this year. So when are you going to follow through and do it, man? Just do it.
Well, I think the biggest thing with the Rockets is they're going to play with a little bit more energy. And that's what happened last time, is they came out and they kind of punched you in the mouth a little bit. And at that point, what exactly are you going to do? If the Grizzlies don't come out flat, they're going to be fine. The problem is they've come out flat so many times because they're trying to get into the rhythm of the game and BS. But last game, it was Jaren went for 23 and Bane went for 23. They combined for a 2 for 10 from 3. And they both had 7 rebounds each. At that time, Zaire was playing 20 minutes a game. He was the second leading scorer with 13. And then Vince Williams had 4 minutes. Conchar had 29 minutes, which is nuts, though, that he had 29 minutes. But just looking at that, nobody did anything. And the Grizzlies were down much more than that. They ended up losing by 20 points, 111 and 91. So with that being said, there's not much that the Grizzlies did or showed offensively. It was it was early in the year. I believe it was the 14th game of the season. And so I guess it's not that early in the year, but it was early enough to where before the switch flipped, it seemed.
Yeah.
But if you look at their end, it was Jalen Green show. He went 3 of 13 from deep, but he went 13 of 26 overall. So he was getting to the front of the rim whenever he wanted to. He had 34 points. Fred VanVleet went 4 of 8 from deep, had 7 rebounds. Sengun had 1 of 1 from deep, had 7 rebounds, 11 points. Dylan Brooks went 0 of 5 as normal. That's what he does. He still had 13 points. Jabari Smith had 18 points and 9 rebounds, went 3 of 4 from deep as well. They shot very well. And so that was one of the biggest things. Plus the energy from that game, from what I remember, is they just looked so much better. And at the fourth quarter, I don't think they played much at all. So I just think that the Grizzlies really can be good, and they can win one of these games. They just have to come out and play with a little bit of energy. And it's crazy that the Grizzlies are now, is it 1-9 at home? Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
The Grizzlies are officially 1-10. They were 1-9 prior to that game. They're 1-10 at home, 5-6 on the road. So
icky.
Yeah, it's gross. I don't know. Anything else you have on this? I don't think we need to spend too much time. We've been here for long enough. We're trying to go for 45-minute shows, but you try to push them to an hour. We're closing in on being way under the hour. So let's go ahead and finish this one early.
Yeah, I've done nothing to push this. I have no desire to push this. This is your fault.
All right. Well, what I will say on the Rockets preview for Wednesday, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Luke this morning. Wednesdays are for what, Nate?
Wings.
Winning, baby. Wednesdays are for winning. We beat the Jazz on the 29th, 2 Wednesdays ago. We beat the Pistons. Now, 3 Wednesdays in a row. I actually said that they would win the next 3 Wednesdays. I didn't expect the other one, but that said they would win the next 3 Wednesdays in a row. Now we have the Rockets. We're winning that game, losing at home again. It's crazy, stupid. I get it. But I think they win it. I think they win at the Rockets. I'd be excited.
I feel like they pull one of these out, and it seems like it's not going to be the one at home. So.
To answer the comment, last season with 10 home losses. No, last year they had 5 home losses the entire year. 5.
They also had
we had better players.
Steven Adams, Brandon Clark, John Morant, Luke Kennard. Hell, they had Dylan Brooks, which at this point is an upgrade from everybody. Like the worst Dylan Brooks is an upgrade from a lot of what we're throwing out there. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. So in the morning, if you don't mind, go ahead and check out the Daily Grind. It'll be live 9 Central Time. Luke and Mark do a good job with that show. I was on there this morning, and so me and Luke kind of chopped it up. Luke's kind of been out for a little bit. He had he had flu or whatever. He was under the weather. And then Tigers Untapped will be here. If you're looking at your Tiger stuff, it is coming. Like football season is pretty much all but wrapped up. The Tigers, big win against Texas A&M this weekend. Check out Tigers Untapped. And then our guy Sane, Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. Check out those guys. Always a good show for him. So if you can be anything, join the Discord with us. And it's honestly, it's free. The last thing I don't have here, our new website.
Yeah.
BluffCityMerch.com. Go check it out. There is some stuff. We have obviously our shirt on there. If you want more of a selection, you can go over to Grind City Designs if you want and go look at our store there. But we do have some merch on there. I think a coffee cup that sold out already, which is cool. Wow, we just lost Nate. He just died. But then he's back. But there is some stuff. So over at BluffCityMerch.com, go check it out. There is a code, Xmas23. Is that right?
No idea what the
Xmas23 saves you 30% off. 30% off. Xmas23, 30% off. So go over and go ahead and look through. I've already bought something. It should be in. I'm hoping this week it should be in. I brought a whatever you call it, toboggan. And so a little beanie. And so I bought that. It was really cool. So go check it out. BluffCityMerch.com and use the code Xmas23. It'll get you 30% off. So that's all we have. It's been a fun show. The Grizzlies sucked. The Grizzlies lost. It is what it is, but y'all all have made it very fun in the comments. Thank you all for hanging out the entire show and kind of going through it with us a little bit. But we're going to be back here Wednesday and Friday this week. It's nice having a day break in between each game and not these stupid back-to-backs. No weekend games. This is great. I can do this all the time. All right. We'll see you Wednesday. Be nice and tell your friends.